and welcome to day 2 of Embody Your Feminine Leadership. I am so excited to be here with you tonight. Yesterday, we covered so much. We dove into, I gave you basically like a little historical TED talk about how we got to where we are currently as women and why embodied feminine leadership truly is this next evolution, this next thing that we are stepping into in a really potent and powerful way. So in embodied feminine leadership, there's really 6 pillars. Yesterday, we talked about the first one, which was the divine feminine, devotion, and desires. And today we're going to cover sisterhood and emotional mastery. And then if there's time, we'll talk about pleasure-based living. So one thing that is vital for women to really step into their feminine and really embody their feminine power. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Okay. Hello, Lauren. Duh, we didn't even take a moment to like get grounded and centered here. I have been doing a ton of really amazing content creation today. So I'm like moving and grooving, but let's go ahead and take a moment. So as long as you are not operating a vehicle or doing anything that would be dangerous for you to close your eyes, go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And just beginning to relax from head to toe. Breathing in deeper and deeper. On this next inhale, bringing the breath all the way down to pussy. And as you exhale, just exhaling very deeply, forcefully, opening your mouth and your jaw. Releasing all the tension that you might be holding in your face and your jaw. Move your body if you need to. Continuing to breathe all the way down to pussy. Great. You're doing so well. Releasing anything that happened before, anything that's happening in the future. Just coming back into the present moment. Ever so deeply. And just beginning to come back into the present moment so that we can dive into all this juicy content today. So yesterday we talked a lot about the history of the patriarchy and how those beliefs, those states of being, those conditionings are really lodged and locked in our subconscious and in our nervous system. And so one thing that the patriarchy has done really, really well is made us believe that other women are competition and or can't be trusted. And the reason why that idea really has come up and was created was that in a hierarchy of power where one person has power and others don't, there's always this competitive edge energy that happens. And because very few, if any, women were truly allowed to have power, that competitive nature was heightened. So if we think about like royalty in the past, there was a queen, and what was happening is like her ladies in waiting, her women that were around her that should have been her community, her support system, her confidants, were maybe having affairs with the king or were vying for power in court. And so in a system that puts the individual in a sense of hierarchy over the collective, that competitive element will always be there. But the feminine, if you think about it, the feminine is requires connection. It requires a sense of community. That's truly how the feminine thrives. So that's why when I hear women who are talking about how they like read books about the feminine, maybe you've read one of my favorites and my very first mentor, Regina Thomas Howard's book, Pussy, there's this sense of like, oh my God, I'm totally like doing the work of the feminine, blah, 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 because you've read a book. And the truth is, without being in community of other women who are really on this path and doing this work, you'll never truly heal your own relationship to your feminine. And for so many leaders, your sisterhood wound is so big and so gaping that it is fundamentally blocking you from leading in the way that you're meant to. And the reason why that sisterhood wound is so big and so gaping is because you've been taught that women are unsafe. And chances are you've had experiences where women are unsafe. I know I have, right? And I think that the majority of the women in my community, especially those of you who are up to big things in the world, who are on a mission, who are doing incredible things, you've experienced, chances are, that most of your life feeling other, feeling like you don't belong, like you aren't connected to these other women around you, feeling judged, feeling criticized. When I first started doing, when I first shifted my coaching, my marketing, everything around to attraction and being attractive and all of those things, I got more backlash, more shame, more condemnation from women than I did from men. And that still tends to be kind of how things shake out often. I get a lot of criticism, a lot of judgment, a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity thrown my way. And I know that I'm not alone in that. And chances are you're experiencing it as well. And so what happens is you shut down, you cut off parts of yourselves, you mute your truth a bit to try and make others comfortable, to try and let others shine or be seen or be heard, in hopes that if you do that enough, if you shrink down enough, if you mute yourself enough, if you stifle yourself enough, other people will then be like, okay, now the floor is yours, go for it. And that never happens. I shouldn't say it never happens. It doesn't happen out in the real world. It happens in communities like the Magnetic Woman community and inside my inner circle, because when a woman is healing her relationship to her own feminine power and doing it in community, those two things become this magical elixir, this alchemical reaction where it really allows you to step into your leadership in such potent and profound ways. So if you're out there and you're trying to do this work on your own, or you're reading books or gathering information, all of that's well and good. You're listening to my free content, like, yay, thank you, amazing. Let me know, drop me a comment, send me a note, let me know that you're listening. And you're making it a million times harder on yourself by trying to do it on your own. So we, in our psyche, right, and with so much of what we see out there and so much in self-development, we see the hero's journey, right? There's this person and this thing happens to them and they have to go out there on their own and figure it out and maybe find one mentor, one guru who gives them all the keys, and then they slay the dragon on their own and they win. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news / love to let you in on a little secret. That's not the motherfucking heroine's journey. The heroine's journey is about moving from outside doing to get to inner being to attract. The heroine's journey requires community and potent and powerful sisterhood. Sisterhood that will allow you to feel so fully seen, so fully heard, not judged. Sisterhood that will support you in your biggest desires and wins and accomplishments and hold you in your deepest pain and grief. Growing up, I had relationships with other females that were really unhealthy, and really unhealthy by the measure of I would constantly shrink down, not wanting to outshine them, not wanting to make them jealous, not wanting, like really desperately wanting to be picked, wanting to be chosen to be like the best friend, wanting them to like really like me. And that trajectory set me up for so much pain. And I even remember when I was in college, because I went through most of my life not really having a lot of girlfriends or female friends, or I did, or I would, and then something would happen and I would, quote, do something to them and they wouldn't like me anymore. I remember in 3rd grade, I dressed up for career day as the same career as my best friend, and she made all the girls in the class not talk to me because she was mad. I remember my best friend in high school, we went to separate high schools. Then I transferred to the one that she went to, and her ex-boyfriend got a crush on me, had a crush on me. I mean, quite frankly, I think it was because I was new, but she hated me. And so it constantly reinforced this story that me being me isn't okay, that me being me hurts other people and thusly isolates me. It makes me feel alone. And so I went to college and I was in a program in a major with mainly women. For those of you who don't know, I used to be a sign language interpreter. And the major itself was really small and mainly women. And so I thought, this is my chance for that Sex in the City vibe. This is my chance to finally be part of a group of women, like to have girlfriends. And again, there was not a lot of variety, right? There's not a lot of options. So I end up this group, and there's like a fucking mean girl leader who I desperately try to please and desperately try and be like her best friend, because I think that's what I should do and am supposed to do. And she would call like quote unquote friendship meetings for us to like sit down, where go around and like criticize each other. It was so unhealthy. But I remember constantly feeling like, well, isn't this how female friendships are supposed to be? And it wasn't until I was in a community of women who were doing pussy-based work that I felt seen and accepted and really able to shine and be my full self. And it was in having that experience in that space that allowed me to shine and be my full self in so many other areas. So what I see a lot with female leaders is you suck at female friendships, and or you're terrified on a very deep visceral level of other women and their judgment, or you're afraid of being overburdened by your community, by their emotions, by their needs, by their wants. And all of that comes down to the sisterhood wound. And the sisterhood wound, again, is something that so many leaders are just like out there fucking gaping and don't address because you're not really addressing your connection to your own feminine and your connection to your feminine power. So what's really important to understand that as a pillar, as an embodied feminine leader, is that healing the sisterhood wound not only gives you a sense of support that cannot be filled by anything or anyone else in your life, but it allows you to lead from a much more grounded and authentic way, to have really clear boundaries, really clear expectations, to attract in like the soulmate clients, community, position, team, whatever. But because so often there is a deep fear, a deep conditioning that I can't outshine others, or if I'm my full self, I'll be alone, I won't have friends, I'll be criticized, I'll be judged by other women. You think it's just blocking you from maybe like having a few really great girlfriends or having some good connection in your life, but really it's blocking you from leading. And thusly, it's truly affecting your bottom line. It's affecting your ability to make money, because if you're constantly afraid of being judged and criticized by other women, then you're not going to be your full self, share your full truth, like charge what you want to charge, run your business, your life, your company in the way that you want. And again, I think that it's just really important to underscore that it is so completely and utterly normal. Like, I remember so much of the narrative I heard growing up was that, oh, it's really hard to have female friends. It's really hard to have girlfriends. And I didn't see a lot of healthy female friendships around me. I saw female friendships, but they were like with adults, but a lot of it was based on, I would constantly hear them complaining, talking about how awful life was, how hard things were. And I didn't really see women connecting with each other in celebration of who they are and what they do and what they create. I didn't see women connecting on the basis of, I love and accept my full self, and therefore I love and accept all of you. I saw a lot of gossiping, like, right, all of these things that we've all seen through our entire lives that are, in the media, out there. And we can just sit here and assume like, okay, well, that's just how it is. That's just how life is. But it doesn't have to be that way. And in fact, it cannot be that way for you if you want to lead other women. Okay. So the sisterhood wound is something that in the inner circle we address overtly. I take you through practices to heal the sisterhood wound somatically. So to get that fear out of your body, and covertly just through the connection, the container, and the community that's created inside the group. Okay. What dovetails so beautifully with the sisterhood wound is emotional alchemy. And the reason why I say this, so emotional alchemy is my trademark process for allowing you to identify, approve of, and move through your emotions in a way to alchemize them into your power. So the only way for you to connect with other women in a very healthy and powerful approach and connection is if you have emotional alchemy, or I'm sorry, emotional mastery. And the reason why that is the case is because it all starts within you. If you fully love and accept your shadow, your dark, your grief, your anger, you fully learn how to celebrate, brag, see, hold yourself, then you can be this space for another woman to show up in her pain and vice versa. That's why being inside this container in the inner circle, it seriously is the most potent transformative experience of your life, which can bring up some fears. I actually just had a call this morning or this afternoon with a woman for the mastermind that I will be joining later this week. And it is the biggest investment that I'll have made to date. And it is really small, really intimate, and it would be a huge up level. And I said, I have a lot of fear. I have fear that everything in my life is going to blow up in a bad way, because there's that fear with transformation that things are going to break apart, things are going to fall away, things are going to, have to change and rearrange. And what I said was on the call is I was like, I've been through a lot of changes in the last 2 years, and honestly, I'm tired. Like, I don't know that I have it in me to go through like another massive thing. And then I go, oh, wow. But I've been doing all of it on my own in a lot of ways. I've been working one-on-one with people and whatever, but I haven't been in that kind of community for a while. And it just really hit me how it can feel so heavy to deal with everything in our lives on our own. And yet we resist being in community. We resist you're probably resisting being in the inner circle. You have fear, you have hesitations, you have reservations. All of that is normal and healthy. And all of it is your unconscious mind trying to keep you safe and trying to actually keep you from what you want, because what you want is not what you have. And your unconscious mind is like, no, but what we have is safe. Like, we are safe now. We're alive. We're safe. So we need to stay here. So emotional mastery is about learning somatic, so in the body, practices and tools to move through the entire range of your emotions and do it from a space of pleasure and turn on, so that you alchemize whatever it is you're feeling into more potency, more magnetism, more power within yourself. And this is a process that, I have created, and it pulls all of the things from all of the places that I've worked and studied and been certified in, and my own twist on it. And it's unlike anything else that you're going to see in self-development and transformation, especially the stuff that is like mind-based. So I have huge respect for NLP, for shifting beliefs, for doing shadow work, all of that, but it is so cerebral. And until you integrate it into your body, until you move some of the shit out of your nervous system, nothing is ever going to change. So one of the best parts about the inner circle and about the emotional mastery piece is we do a bunch of shadow work and unconscious work, which can feel really heavy, can be really scary. It can bring up a lot, but we do it from the path of pleasure and from a space of turn on and sexiness. So I call it bringing sexy to the shadows, because it is only when we address what's unconsciously going on underneath the surface that's actually creating what's happening in our life, and that we do it from a place of radical approval and pleasure, can we ultimately shift what's happening in our lives. So when we look at even the stuff around sisterhood and community and connection, it's really important that we end up bringing pleasure into it and having like a common language or common phrases and common ways to process things is what cultivates even more sisterhood, right? So like if you're just out there in a random free Facebook group and, maybe the person's talking about mindset or maybe even the feminine, and it's like, celebrate yourself, and everybody's like celebrating themselves in a different way. So one's like, I celebrate myself. Someone else is like, I brag. Someone's like, I want to honor. And on the surface, it's like, okay, that's fine. It's all celebration. but it doesn't tend to form a deeper sense of connection with these other women. So having certain phrases and certain approaches to moving through your emotions, to shifting subconscious beliefs, to doing shadow work, cultivates this like really rich and beautiful community. So the other thing that's really important to note and to understand is that thousands of years ago, women in community, especially when it came to rituals and menstruation and cycles and festivals and birth or life transitions, getting your first period, getting married, having a child, having multiple children, going through menopause, that was celebrated in community. So as part of the feminine, part of restoring your connection to your feminine, healing it, restoring it, because it's not about, oh, I need to find it or I need to like do this thing outside of myself. It's already inside of you. The whole point of the inner circle is to bring you back to your truth, to bring you back to your truest expression outside of patriarchal beliefs and conditioning, outside of ego and unconscious fears, outside of trying to make others comfortable, bringing you back to your truth and your fullest expression so that you can lead in the way that you're meant to lead and that you can curate the life that you're meant to curate. And shit, I just lost it. Hold on. Oh my gosh, my mind just went blank. Okay, hold on. So coming back to your truth, coming back to your authentic expression, that you're restoring your relationship to your feminine. It's not about going outside of yourself. Crap. Oh, the rituals. Sorry. Whew. Massive like brain pause there. So thousands of years ago, like the rites and passages of woman and womanhood were celebrated ritually, and celebrated in a community. We have lost all of that. Now, you can sit there and tell me that like a wedding shower or a baby shower is somehow that, and it's not at all. It doesn't tend to, at least not none of the ones I've gone to, it doesn't honor the woman for the rite of passage she's about to go through. It doesn't honor her for the transition she's about to make. And I have heard so many women who have had really embarrassing, uncomfortable experiences when they got their first period or when they menstruated for the first time, being full of a lot of shame, embarrassment. In the inner circle, we do rituals and practices to really take those experiences back for yourself and honor the whole journey of woman, honor all of the woman. And in that reconnection to cycles, to rituals, to things that are uniquely feminine that we have lost a connection to over the last couple thousands of years, in that you end up cultivating a deeper spiritual connection, a deeper spiritual practice. So one thing in the inner circle is I don't push or promote like any specific kind of spirituality, religion, whatever. It again is all about giving you the tools, practices, and resources to bring you back to yourself, bring you home to who you've always been meant to be. That's what it is. To come home to your body, to the pleasure in your body, to come home to who you've always been meant to be. That is the entire point of the inner circle, and to do it in a community, because that vortex, that connection just magnifies it a millionfold. the majority of women are out there right now walking around being afraid of other women, having a deep and gaping sisterhood wound, being so cut off from their emotion, their full emotional range, being unaware of their unconscious beliefs and stories and fears and shadow parts that are kind of keeping them in a state of stuckness, in a state of apathy, in a state of atrophy. And you're meant for more. You desire more. You know that you were here. You were put here for a reason. You were put here to walk out a huge vision. And it's time for you to have the right tools, community, and mentor to really support you in that. So the inner circle, the first module, which I will tell you is so amazing, and the practice that I gave today, honestly, the practice alone is worth the price of the program because of the transformation that you can experience when you do this practice even once a week. So the first module will drop today, as I mentioned yesterday with the bonuses. So today, if you sign up for the Inner Circle from now until 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, you get a half-day intensive, a bonus half-day intensive with me, and 6 months of unlimited voice and text access, which, if we're being honest, those two bonuses together are worth almost the price of the program. So you would be doing yourself a huge favor if you've been thinking about the inner circle, if you've been kicking it around, if you've been, kind of going back and forth about it, that you allow yourself to be a full whatever you are. Be a full yes or be a full no if it's a no, but allow yourself to be a full whatever. Hanging out in ambiguity and in indecision is a way that it's this like tricky, or I shouldn't say tricky, it's this sneaky, good girl, perfectionist, behavior that keeps you stuck and stagnant and cut off from your power. There is so much power in your no. In life in general, I think everybody should say yes to the inner circle, but in general, we tend to kind of go one foot in, one foot out. I don't know. Well, maybe this, maybe that. We'll see. There's so much power in just being like, no, that's not for me. So much power in being like, yes, this is for me. And so no matter what decision you're trying to make, whether it be about the inner circle or about anything in general, give yourself permission to be a full yes or be a full no. And when it comes to you wanting to be a leader, and a leader that truly is in her body, leads from her feminine, feels safe and at home in her body, experiences massive pleasure and turn on and juiciness and bliss. Quite frankly, the only answer I see to that is the inner circle. And the reason why I say that is because I know what I am creating and how powerful it is for the women who are in the program already. I know the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I've spent on personal development and certification and building my business, and the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of hours, tens of thousands of hours probably, I have spent on mastering this stuff. The 9 certifications that I hold in all of this. And the inner circle is really curated for the woman who has a handle on what she's doing in the world. So, you're not coming because you actually need how to build a business program. And quite frankly, if you feel like you need a how to like step-by-step any kind of program, this program's not for you, because this program, it's about giving you the tools and practices, again, to lead you back to your truth and to your authentic expression. And whether you have a business or starting a business, work in corporate, you want to do it in your own way and on your own terms. And you want to be in a community that really will help cultivate that for you. And so, I have a few spots left for the inner circle. I'm definitely going to leave the doors open at least through the end of next week, if not longer. If you're listening to this replay and it's after, January 15th, 2021, and you're interested in the inner circle, just reach out. I will say I don't plan on rerunning this program this year. So this will be the only chance for you to join it if you're interested in it. The way I see it is you're doing this for you, but you're doing this for your bigger vision. I can sit here and tell you yeah, you'll make more money. Yeah, you'll have better sex. Yeah, you'll, feel sexier in your body. All of that is true. But at your core, the deep, deep desire is you want to be in this program because you want to plug into something bigger than yourself, because it's going to support you in doing the big shit in this world that you're meant to do. So that is all I have for you today, my loves. I will be back tomorrow with all things sensuality, sexuality, and the empowered partnership. And if you have any questions about the inner circle, make sure to shoot me a message. If you're listening to this or watching the replay on YouTube or listening on my podcast, you can go to the show notes and the info page for the inner circle is there. You can shoot me an email, reach out to me on social, all the ways. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.